Okay, class, this is a short schedule, so we can only have about 4 students to stand up and show us their literary criticism on one of the poems they chose. Let's see who's first. Robert, you're first.
Oh, me?
No, the other Robert who is the ghost haunting this class. Now read your criticism.
Alright. Dover Beach, written by Matthew Arnold. In Matthew Arnold's poem, Arnold is describing the behavior of the ocean waves as they shift back and forth repeatedly on the shore. The ocean waves were described as monstrous and loud as they emit the rumbling sounds against the pebbles. The low tremendous sounds the ocean waves make was implied by the poet that it suggests the boundless impression of the misery and sadness in the human life. Sophocles was mentioned in the poem by the poet, and the rumbling of the wet pebbles reminds him of the giant flow of human agony. The poem explains the steady decline of the human faith in an ambitious and signifying simile. The hope of the belief in divinity is compared to the ocean that surrounds the world. The sea has a full tide, and then it regresses with the low rumbling on the pebbles, and the irritation of the pebbles takes in the eternal note of sadness in. Arnold reminds the audience of the world in which there was once a time where there was once faith and hope in religion, and people believe in the religion they follow. And then the faith in religion starts to gradually fade away, like the ocean waves falling back into the ocean. The chattering of the pebbles washed by the returning waves symbolizes the faith retreating from the human minds, which causes the mind to be fastened between belief and disbelief. What the poem says shows the afflictive expression of Arnold's current lack of faith and is amplifying her sentiments.
Wow, that is a pretty good criticism for a football player.
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing. You reached a touchdown in this assignment. Who's next? I see you got your hand up. Go ahead and read your criticism.
Okay. Part Beauty, written by Gerald Manley Hopkins. The poem is a lyrical hymn showing the poet Hopkins praising God for what he created. Hopkins has an intense liking of the boonies and the beauty of it, in which in his eyes he can see the power and creation of God. He expresses his astonishment and enjoyment about nature in his Part Beauty poem. Hopkins insists that the less superlative parts in life are still beautiful and not more beautiful. He was able to describe God's love and strength and sense of amusement and erroneous things of the world. His poems ask the audience to reminisce of what they have seen in the applause of the world. That provides to the audience the understanding into Hopkins' thoughts and emotions about nature. The poem starts as laid back, but then picks up the speed as Hopkins gets more and more cheerful. He uses accents and punctuation as a tool to slow the reader down, and then removes them to keep up the reading pace. This is essential because Hopkins wants the reader to feel his enthusiasm, but also wants to absorb of what he wants to tell them. Not only is this poem just a short poem, it is a prayer from himself. Hopkins' prayer is like a personal expression of his adulation, affection, and greatness towards God.
Excellent as always, Alex. You can sit down now. Third one is Francis. You're up.
This isn't a good paper I made. How about you pick somebody else?
Nope. I want to hear from you. That's it.
Can you just...
Time is wasting. Get up there.
To An Athlete Dying Young, written by A.E. Houseman. The poem tells the story of an acclaimed athlete who had passed away after achieving his accomplishment, which means the poem could be an elegy. In Houseman's opinion, as illustrated in the poem, it is better for athletes to pass away at the height of their glory than to grow old and less active, in which their name and victory will most likely be forgotten and unremembered. Figurative language is used in the poem to try to passively connect with readers. Hosman refers both the celebration of the athlete and the funeral of the athlete in the poem, which could be classified as irony. In line 20 in the poem, it says the following: "And a name died before the man." This is a usage of personification, as if the name of a human can actually die. The figurative language in the poem makes up of a theme, which is that glory is fleeting, and the only way a person can make it last for long periods of time is to die young after accomplishing their great goals. That way, the person will be known as an achiever forever in the minds of the people who recognize the person at the peak of his or her powers. Hosman does not desire his readers to take his poem very seriously, but his cynicism in the poem suggests that life later on will be uneventful and exhausting. So it would be understandable if a famous person decides to sacrifice his or her life for his or her resemblance of achievement to the people.
You feel good reading in front of the class?
Whatever.
You'll thank me later. Last person to read, and that's it for today. Anyone?
Yo, I wanna read.
My favorite delinquents. What do you got for me?
Are You Digging on My Grave? Written by Thomas Hardy. The first poem narrator of the poem includes both satire and humor, as the narrator of the poem is a living, rotting corpse of a woman in a buried coffin. The main intention of the poem is to discuss a subject related to death in a different outlook than what the readers might think of at first. In the poem, a living dead woman in a grave was wondering who was digging up her burial place. At first, the readers would think that it might be a human being doing the digging. The rotting woman thinks that there might be one or more of her loved ones mourning her death. As her grave is being dug, she questions herself about the person who would dig up her grave. The poem becomes barren and depressing as she thinks of the people she impacted back then on living days, and none of them have given her a second thought anymore. For example, this woman narrates that her former lover had married a wealthy woman for his benefits. This challenges the romanticized belief of society, saying that no one cares about her dead ones. The poem includes that it was the dead woman's loyal dog digging up her grave. The irony is that the dog was just burying the bones at the place where it did not realize that it was the woman's burial ground. Clearly, it was none of the dead woman's loved one who came to mourn her death. This goes to show that the theme that after death, people are forgotten. It becomes nothing but a simple memory. Simple memory. Very characteristics of the Victorian thinking.
Awesome as always. Now go back to sleep. Okay, so we got 7 more minutes till class is over. So I need one more person to read their criticism. One person, please. No. 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 For the last time, Christina, you're a llama. Llamas can't talk, so deal with it.